to go through some things to get here. You had to push through. Keep your head up, keep moving, keep believing when you felt things didn't add up. And I'm telling you now, people see it. People are proud of you. People respect how you handled what you went through. Some of them are even watching it and just survived that season. You changed in it. You built strength, patience, and grace. That's why your life is different now. That's why doors are still. Welcome to a space where you can finally breathe and feel safe. Welcome to Blended Healing. Here we honor every piece of your journey and walk with you toward balance, clarity, and peace. Welcome to Blended Healing.
Every soul alive. The city keeps beating.
Grand rising, grand afternoon, grand evening, wherever you are tuning in at. I want to share something with you today. This person I'm about to bring up, just a small detour before we get into the side eye. This woman right here, when I tell you that she's true blue, she is. This woman is very intuitive. She is impactful. And she has a heart of gold. She has created a Black ladies doing shit. A whole universe dedicated. And I want to thank her in the proper way. So there's going to be bits and pieces of this whole production. And I wanted to wholeheartedly and humbly come before you and let you know that she is everything that she says she is. And all I can see is success. She brings the community together, all in the service of the people. May I introduce to you, some people call her Mecbec. Some people call her Aunt Mecbec. Today, she is Mecbec Creations, Productions, baby. And without further ado, please allow me to share a little bit with you of what she has created for us. For us, women, uplifting women. Ashe.
Black ladies doing shit. Black Renee Creations, baby. Make a Renee Creations, yeah. Make a Renee Creations, baby. This is for the women who turn pressure into power. The women who turn pain into purpose. The women who stopped asking for permission and started creating their own kingdoms. This is for the BLDS. Black ladies doing shit. This is about knowledge. This is about wisdom. This is about knowing your self-value. These ladies didn't just dig deep into themselves. They discovered their power. So ladies, period. Let me say that again for the people in the back. For everybody who thought you couldn't. For everybody who said it couldn't be done. For everybody who counted you out, baby. You just proved them wrong, ladies. Get them! Black ladies doing shit. We building, we healing, we winning, we rising. Black ladies doing shit. Knowledge, knowledge in our minds, wisdom in our spirits, power in our voices, crown on our heads, fire in our hearts. We came from the struggle. Now we are creating stars. Doing shit, say it loud, say it proudly. Say it loud, say it proudly. The queens are here now. Look, black ladies doing shit. Black ladies doing shit. Black ladies doing shit. Black ladies doing shit. No. Black ladies doing shit. Black ladies doing shit. Black
Mecca Renee
black ladies doing
Creations,
shit.
baby.
Hillary on that. Black ladies doing shit.
BLDS
Black
Universe.
ladies doing shit. Black ladies doing shit. Black. Healing realm, hidden healing realm. It's my name. I came from the storm for the lessons were hidden. And I turned in the star into a sacred vision. I walk through the fire, I carry the pain, but I found my purpose standing inside of the rain. I healed the places nobody could see and found my freedom when I finally chose me. I don't carry bitterness, I carry wisdom. I don't chase validation, I know my kingdom. My mind is my temple, my spirit is protected. Every broken piece I collected. They thought healing made me weak. Nah, healing made me die before because a woman who knows herself is unstoppable. Blended healing realm. I am the peace after the chaos. I am the light after the darkness. We champions in the building. Let me introduce myself properly. I ain't asking for a seat, I built a problem. Pressure made honest, I became the jewel. They tried to count me out, I rewrote the rules. Royal mindset, boss mentality, every move strategic. Hey, I study my strategy. I walk like a leader, I talk like a queen. My vision is bigger than anything they have seen. No fear in my blood, no doubt in my veins. I turn my losses into championship games. Remember the name. Say it correctly. Queen carry me. The crown fits perfectly. Hey, black ladies doing shit. No chains, no fear, no limits. We know who we are. Ladies doing shit. Every generation is stronger. Every dream is getting bigger. Every queen is getting higher. God is still love. God is still love. I learned that love begins inside before you give it. You gotta love your own life. Oh, I stopped drinking, I stopped pretending. I became the woman I was always becoming. My heart is medicine, my words are healing. My energy changes every room I'm revealing. I don't compete, I elevate, I don't hate, I create every system beside me. I celebrate because love isn't weakness. Love is power, and I bloom every single hour. Remember my vibrations. Remember my truth.
Now that's a good morning. That is everything. Thank you, Mec Beck Creations. Mecca Renee Creations. We'll be right back after this.
This place is beautiful. Look at these. They smell amazing.
Soft light, evening glow. She Mecca essential, let the magic flow. Bath and spray, a gentle start. Body but a woman, every part. Crystals hum, charms and light.
Warm coconut, creamy sandalwood, luxury, confidence, golden hour, pure elegance.
This body moisture and other products are available at chamakaessentials.com. See you in the next experience.
Every night, every way, lift your spirit rising.
Y'all make sure that y'all share, like, and subscribe to Mecca Renee Creations. Ashe to you, Queen. The side eye, baby. The side eye. We are now into chapter 3. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Some people think words disappear the moment that they're spoken. They don't. They go somewhere. Sometimes they settle in your memory, confidence. Sometimes they settle so deep you don't even realize that you're changing the way you see yourself. The funny thing about the little jokes is that they usually aren't little to the person hearing them. They're repeated so often that they stop sounding like jokes and start sounding like truth. Most of us can remember the mean things that people say to us today and growing up. We remember the names we were called, the comparisons, the little backhanded compliments to family member who always had something slick to say. We laugh about it years later because that's what we're suspected to do. That's just how they are, people would say. Don't take it personal. But words have a way of hanging around long after the laughter dies down. After the cookout, I couldn't stop replaying the conversations in my head. The comments themselves were not all that, but it was enough to start an argument. But they were so out there to make me wonder how many times I've heard these things like that without actually hearing them. Once your eyes open to the pattern, it's almost impossible to close them again. The problem wasn't Keisha or Erica. The problem was that somewhere along the way, we had learned to call certain behavior normal. And I was finally beginning to question who taught us that in the first place. Ashe, it didn't sit right. The cookout was over, but never really left me. Monday morning came like it always did. The alarm went off. I got dressed, poured my coffee, and headed out the door. Traffic was traffic, you know. Work was work. People smiled, spoke, complained about how fast the weekend disappeared, and everything around me felt normal. But my mind kept drifting back to Saturday. I wasn't thinking about the food or Uncle Leon arguing over the grill. I wasn't even thinking about Ro making everybody laugh or Aunt Cheryl fussing over leftovers. I kept hearing the conversations around Keisha for years. I would have described those moments as harmless. That's just how we joke in our family. Nobody meant anything by it. At least that's what I always believe. But once Jade asked me if Erica always did that, something in me changed. I couldn't answer her because I never actually paid attention. I heard the words, but I never listened to what they were doing. Around lunchtime, I found myself staring out the office window instead of eating. And that's when my phone buzzed. It was Keisha. You free to talk later? I smiled. Yeah. Everything okay? A few seconds passed before she answered. Everything's good. Just checking in. That was Keisha. She called just to see how you were doing. No agenda, no reason. If she said she was thinking about you, she actually was. That was one of the things everybody loved about her. She made people feel seen. I put my phone down and went back to work. But something kept nagging at me. If everybody loved Keisha so much, Why did every compliment seem to come with a condition? Don't get too rich. Don't forget us. I could never do what you did. Business must be paying good. Individually, they didn't sound like much. Together, they started telling a different story. That evening, I stopped by the grocery store on my way home. I wasn't there for anything special, just picking up a few things for the week. As I reached for a carton of eggs, I heard somebody call my name. Naya! I turned around and smiled. Mrs. Watkins. She had been friends with my mother for as long as I could remember. Growing up, she was one of those neighborhood mothers who somehow knew everything before your own parents did. If you skipped school, she knew. If you got your first job, she knew. If you brought somebody home your family had never met before, somehow she knew that too. She pulled me into a hug. How's your mama? She's good. And you? I'm doing all right. She studied my face for a second. You thinking about something. I laughed. Is it that obvious? You got your mother's face. She couldn't hide a thought if she tried. We both laughed. She reached into her shopping cart and held up a loaf of bread. You know, people think getting older teaches you all the answers. It doesn't? Oh, baby. She smiled. It just teaches you better questions. I tilted my head. What do you mean? When something keeps coming back to your mind, stop trying to answer it. She paused. Ask yourself why it won't leave. I stood there quietly. She hadn't asked me what I was thinking about. She hadn't needed to. She patted my arm before pushing her cart toward the checkout line. It was good seeing you. You too. I watched her walk away. Ask yourself why it won't leave. For the second time in 2 days, somebody had said something that settled deeper than I expected. First Jade, then Aunt Bernice, and now Mrs. Watkins. 3 different women, 3 different conversations, the same message. Pay attention. When I got home, I put the groceries away but left the television off. The house was unusually quiet, and for once, I didn't mind it. I made a cup of tea, sat at the living room window, and let the silence do what silence does. It made room for memories, not just Saturday, other birthdays, holidays, other graduations, different people, different years. The comments were always there. Oh, you think you cute now? Look who got money. Don't forget where you came from. Must be nice. Some of us gotta work tomorrow. I used to laugh because everybody else laughed. Now, I wasn't laughing anymore. For the first time, I wasn't asking myself what people meant. I was asking myself, why had we gotten so comfortable hiding our feelings behind a joke?
There are conversations we don't say out loud. We carry them quietly.
The funny thing about little jokes is they usually aren't little to the person hearing them. They're repeated so often that they stop sounding like jokes and start sounding like truth. Most of us can remember the mean things people said to us growing up. We remember the names we were called, The comparisons, the backhanded compliments, the family member who always had something slick to say. We laugh about it years later because that's what we're expected to do. You free to talk later? Yeah. Everything okay? Yeah, all good. Talk soon. If she said she was thinking about you, she actually was. That was one of the things everybody loved about her. You remember the cookout? Which part? Uncle Leon accusing me of stealing ribs or Aunt Cheryl threatened to hide the peach cobbler from me? The conversations around Keisha. What about them? Did anything seem different to you? I don't think so. What about some of the comments Erica made? Nah. Really? I mean, Erica jokes. She always has. That's true. So what's different? I don't know.
Hi, a medium latte, please. Of course. That'll be $5. Thank you. Ooh, she cute. I like her outfit. She always dressed. I wonder where she work. I heard she owns something. I don't know. She always look expensive. Probably got somebody paying for it.
Sometimes the biggest change doesn't happen when you finally see other people clearly. It happens when you decide to become different.
That's just how we are. A few days passed, but the thoughts never really went away. I answered emails, went to meetings, returned phone calls, and I handled everything like I normally do. Yet my mind kept wandering back to the same question. Why do so many of us excuse behavior just because it came from family? Somewhere along the line, that's just how they are, have become the answer to everything. Somebody always criticizing. That's just how they are. Somebody always comparing cousins. That's just how they are. Somebody making slick ass comments every time another person succeeds. That's just how they are. It was like those 5 words gave everybody permission to stop growing. Wednesday night, roll call. You busy? Not really. I'm outside. I laugh. You didn't tell me you were coming. I wanted it to be a surprise. You could have surprised me with food. I got food. You serious? I know what motivates you. 5 minutes later, she was sitting at my kitchen table with 2 takeout bags and enough stories to fill the entire evening. Ro had a way of making an ordinary Wednesday feel like a family reunion. She talked with her hands, laughed at her own jokes before anybody else had the chance, and somehow managed to tell the different stories at the same time without losing herself. We had almost finished eating when she looked at me. You've been thinking. I smiled. How you know? Because you're stirring sweet tea that don't need stirring. I looked down at my glass and laughed. I guess I am. She leaned back in her chair. So, what's on your mind? I hesitated. You remember the cookout? Which part? Uncle Leon accusing me of stealing ribs or Aunt Cheryl threatening to hide the peach cobbler from me? I smiled. The conversations around Keisha. Rose shrugged. What about him? I searched for the right words. Did anything seem different to you? She frowned. I don't think so. What about some of the comments that Erica made? Ro thought for a moment before shaking her head. Nah. Really? I mean, Erica jokes. She always has. That's true. So what's different? I stared at my plate for a second. I don't know. Ro crossed her arms. Naya. Stop doing that. Doing what? Talking like you already got an answer, but you want me to find it. I laughed because she was right. I just been replaying everything. Because of what Jade said, I looked up. Yeah. Rose nodded slowly. I figured. She picked up another fry before speaking again. You know Jade different. What do you mean? She ain't family. I know. So she hears stuff different. That sentence stayed with me. She hears stuff different. Ro wasn't defending anybody. She was just explaining something that I never considered. When you grow up inside a family, certain conversations become background noise. You hear them so often that they stop sounding unusual. Somebody always had a slick remark. Somebody else compares people. Somebody else always turns a compliment into a competition. After 20 or 30 years, it doesn't register anymore. It's just part of the soundtrack. An outsider doesn't have that soundtrack. They hear every word. You think that we've gotten used to it, I asked. Ro didn't answer right away. She took a sip of her drink, looked out my kitchen window, and then sighed. Can I be honest? When have you never not been? She smiled. I think every family got stuff they normalize. I nodded. Probably. We do too. Like what? She shrugged. I don't know. Talking over each other. True. Holding grudges. Definitely. Thinking everything is funny. I looked at her. She noticed. What? You said thinking everything is funny. I did. I leaned forward. What made you say that? Ro thought for a second. I guess because we joke about everything. We do. Somebody late, joke. Somebody gained weight, joke. Somebody lose weight, joke. Get promoted, joke. Buy a new car, joke. Start a business. She stopped talking. And for the first time that evening, the room became completely quiet. Ro looked down at the table. I never thought about it before. Neither have I, not really. It wasn't the jokes themselves. Families tease each other, friends tease each other. That wasn't what bothered me anymore. It was who always became the punchline. I thought back over birthdays, graduations, promotions, new homes, engagements, even simple compliments. Why did success always seem to come with a warning? Why couldn't somebody simply be happy without being reminded to stay humble? Why did we act like celebrating somebody too much was somehow dangerous? Ro finally broke the silence. You know something? What? I think we confuse keeping people grounded with keeping people small. I looked at her. She hadn't said it trying to sound deep. She just said what came to her. But it hit me anyway. Keeping people grounded or keeping them small. There was a difference, a big difference. And for the first time, I started wondering how many dreams have been quietly put down by people who swore they were just joking. For real. The first time I've heard it. That weekend, I stopped by my mother's house. I hadn't planned on staying long. I was just dropping off a few things and checking in. But if you have ever gone to your mother's house for just a minute, you already know how the conversation ends. One conversation turns into another, and she tells you to sit down. And then she asks if you're hungry. And even though you just ate, before you know it, you have hours have disappeared and you're walking out with leftovers that you never asked for. She was in the kitchen peeling apples when I walked in. I knew that was you, she said, without looking up. How? A mother knows. I laughed. Or maybe you just heard my keys. She smiled. Don't ruin my moment. I kissed her on the cheek and sat at the kitchen table while she continued working. There was something peaceful about watching her move around the kitchen. She never rushed. Every movement had its own rhythm, like she made that same recipe 1,000 times before. You've been quiet lately, she said. I looked up. What makes you say that? You usually call me 3 times a week. I've been busy. She stopped peeling the apple and looked at me over her glasses. No. What? You've been thinking. I smiled. Is everybody reading my face now? No. She laughed softly. You just get quiet when something's bothering you. I leaned back in the chair. You ever notice how people joke about somebody right after they get blessed? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she finished peeling the apple, rinsed her hands, and dried them on a towel, and sat across me. What happened? I told her about the cookout, not every detail, just enough. The comments Jade noticing, Aunt Bernice telling me to listen to the little things, Rose saying we normalized joking after everything, and when I finished, my mother sat quietly for a few seconds before nodding. Did this happen after I left? For the most part, I was wondering when you were going to notice. That caught me off guard. You noticed too? She laughed. Naya. She reached across the table and patted my hand. I've noticed for years. Then why didn't you ever say anything? Because sometimes people have to arrive at the lesson on their own. I frowned. So you knew? I knew. About Erica? She shook her head. No. Then what? About people. She folded her hands together. Insecure people don't always attack you. I listened. Sometimes they tease you, she continued. Sometimes they minimize what you accomplish. Sometimes they remind you of who you used to be every time you're trying to become somebody new. Felt myself tightening up. Sometimes they'll celebrate you, she paused, just enough so nobody can accuse them of not celebrating you. The kitchen became very, very quiet. I thought about Keisha, every compliment, every joke, every little reminder my mother wasn't describing one person, she was describing a pattern. I used to think everybody was just playing. I admitted. They probably think they are. What do you mean? Most people don't wake up planning to be jealous. She smiled softly and sadly. It usually sneaks up on them. How? They compare. She pointed toward the window. They compare marriages, kids, houses, vacations, careers. They compare money, attention. She shook her head, and after enough comparisons, somebody else's blessing starts feeling like proof that they are losing. I had never thought about jealousy that way. Not as hatred, as comparison. My mother stood and carried the apples to the stove. You know what comparison does? What? It changes your eyesight. I watch her stir the apples. You see, you stop seeing what the divine is doing in your life because you're too busy measuring somebody else's. I lowered my eyes. That's dangerous. It is. She looked back at me, and that's why the joke matters. The joke? She nodded, yes, because jokes tell the truth people aren't comfortable saying out loud. That sentence settled over me like a heavy blanket. I replayed every conversation from the cookout again, not the words, the timing. Every time somebody praised Keisha, somebody joked. Every time somebody admired her courage, somebody reminded her of the risk. Every time somebody acknowledged her happiness, somebody mentioned the paycheck she gave up. It was not by accident. It never had been. It's almost like the family couldn't let her enjoy her moment without gently pulling her back to where everyone else felt comfortable. I looked at my mother. So, what do you do? When somebody does that, she smiled knowingly. No. She shook her head. You protect your peace. You protect your peace. How do you do that? You stop needing everybody to clap for you. She walked back to the table carrying 2 bowls of warm apples. The loudest applause usually comes from people. Comes from the people that really don't mean it. You dig? All right. I'm not understanding. They come from the people who already believed in themselves. She placed a bowl in front of me. The ones constantly measuring your success, she smiled gently, are usually trying to measure their own.
Hey y'all, it's me, Nia. I hope you are enjoying the story time with Blended. Ooh, lots of shade up in here. Stay tuned. We will be right back after this message or whatever it is Blended do. Ooh, that was a bit shady.
Black Renee Creations, baby. Macaroni Creations. Baby! I want to say this one is for every woman who had to become her own medicine, who learned healing ain't soft. Healing is warfare. Ladies, let's heal like hell. Blended healing round. I grew flowers where they swore nothing could survive. Watered every dream they declared would never thrive. Built a cathedral from the bricks they threw in spite. Turned midnight conversations into blueprints made of light. Every scar became a syllabus. Every bruise became a page. Pain was just a professor trying to educate my rage. I quit negotiating with voices built on fear and started charging rent to every doubt that lingered near. My peace ain't passive, my peace is arms. My smile ain't weakness, it's a fire alarm. They judged the chapter, never read the whole book. Now they are studying my life, trying to steal the outlook. I don't wear crowns, I wear conviction. I don't need permission, I'm living prediction. The woman in the mirror finally recognized my face. Now confidence and discipline are sharing the same space. I stopped asking why me, started asking what now. Every mountain became a staircase. Look at me now. Feel like hell, rise like fire. Every setback built desire. Every scar, every tear made a queen they couldn't disappear. Feel like hell. Own your name, the woman I became can never be contained. Blended healing realm. They just took my silence for surrender. That was funny. I I was stacking wisdom while they counting somebody else's money. See, trauma tried to draft me into permanent defeat. I rewrote the contract and walked out on my own feet. Now every room I enter feels the frequency adjust. Cause confidence built slowly lasts longer than quick trust. I don't carry bitterness, that luggage got too heavy. I pack purpose instead, now my future stays ready. The roots don't argue with the branches about who deserves the sky. They simply keep on growing while the seasons testify that I made peace with the child that was waiting to be seen. Told her one day you become everything they couldn't dream. Now I'm evidence that healing doesn't erase your past. It teaches you to hold the wheel and finally drive it last. I'm not chasing perfection, I'm honoring profession. The woman I protect today is my greatest possession. If they ask how you survive, tell them you stopped waiting for rescue and became the rescue. Stand up taller, know your worth and add a dollar. Mind unbreakable, spirit free. No one writes my destiny but me. Feel like this, walk in grace. Can't nobody take my place. Splendid healing room.
Mecca Renee, Creations Baby. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Gratitude, Mecca. Gratitude to you. Everybody got something to say. The following Saturday, Aunt Cheryl did what Aunt Cheryl always did whenever there was too much food left in the refrigerator. She called everybody, y'all better get over here before I throw this food away. Nobody believed that she was going to throw anything away. An hour later, the driveway looked like a dealership. Somebody was arguing over parking. Kids were running amok through the yard with water guns. Uncle Leon was already at the grill claiming he was just warming it up, even though there were enough leftovers to feed half the town. I walked through the gate, but this time I wasn't there to laugh. I was there to listen. Jade had messed me up. Now, every conversation felt different. The first person to arrive after me was Aunt Denise. You always knew Aunt Denise was coming before you saw her because she never walked into a family function empty-handed. She carried her sweet potato pie like it was the Olympic torch. According to her, nobody, and she meant nobody, could touch her recipe. She'd been reminding us of that since I was a little girl, and by now, nobody even argued. It was easier to let her win than to hear the same speech every Thanksgiving. She placed the pie on the table and peeled back the foil just enough for everybody to admire it. I made it from scratch, she announced. Not like those box desserts some people like bringing. Nobody even mentioned dessert. Across the yard, Cousin Yolanda looked up from fixing her plate. I know you ain't talking about me. I ain't say no names. You ain't have to. The yard burst into laughter. Aunt Denise smiled without missing a beat. If the crust fit, Yolanda shook her head. See? This is exactly why nobody tells you nothing. You still ate 3 slices last Christmas, and I'll eat 3 more today. Everybody laughed, including Aunt Denise. It wasn't an argument, it was tradition. They've been doing this for years, and somehow it always ended up with both of them hugging before the night was over. A few minutes later, Uncle Ray pulled into the driveway. His work boots hit the pavement before the truck door even finished opening. If you spent 5 minutes with Uncle Ray, you already know exactly how long he'd been working. 12 hours a day. Nobody answered. Started at 4 this morning. Still nothing. He looked around like somebody was supposed to congratulate him. Ro finally looked up from her dominoes. You just want us to clap or something? Is that what you want? Everybody cracked up. I'm serious, Uncle Ray said. So am I. I actually work. Ro looked down at her clothes. Damn, I thought my paycheck came from imagination. More laughter. Uncle Ray pointed towards everybody sitting in lawn chairs. Y'all office people don't know what tide is. Rose smirked. Here we go. She leaned toward me and whispered, watch this. Then she looked back at Uncle Ray. So nurses don't work hard? They inside. Firefighters? They ain't pouring concrete. Teachers? They got summers off. The whole yard just started laughing. You impossible, Ro laughed. No, I'm experienced. You're competitive. I just know real work when I see it. Nobody challenged him anymore. Not because he was right, because Uncle Ray had been winning arguments nobody else was trying to have since before I was born. Just then another SUV rolled into the driveway. Cousin Monique. Cousin Monique stepped out wearing sunglasses that probably cost more than my first apartment security deposit. Monique wasn't a flashy on purpose. She genuinely just liked nice things. The problem was every time she bought something, the family acted like they had to become the financial advisors. Everybody walked over to see her new truck. Ooh, that nice. What year is it? This year's model. Before the congratulations could settle, somebody spoke up. I know that payment is crazy. Another voice. Insurance probably through the roof. I would have bought something cheaper. I would have invested that money. I would have waited another year. Monique smiled. I didn't ask you what y'all would have done. Everybody laughed. She wasn't offended. She expected it. Around here, nobody could simply let you enjoy something. Everything came with commentary. Then Keisha walked through the gate. The energy changed. It always did. She didn't demand attention. People naturally gravitated toward her. She hugged Aunt Cheryl, kissed Aunt Bernice on the cheek, helped Uncle Leon carry drinks without even being asked, and then sat down like everybody else. Come on, Miss CEO, somebody yelled. There go the entrepreneur. You hiring? Business booming? Keisha laughed. I'm just trying to get a plate. Aunt Denise smiled. You got time to eat? I thought business owners worked all day. They do. So why are you smiling so much? Because I actually like what I do. The year and the yard got quiet for a half a second, and then the side eye started coming from every direction. Enjoy it while it lasts. Wait until tax season. You better keep some money put away. I wouldn't have never left my government job. You got health insurance? What you gonna do when the economy change? What if business slows down? None of the questions sounded mean. None of them were screamed out. Nobody rolled their eyes and nobody made a scene. They all smiled. They all laughed and they all reached for another rib. But listening with fresh ears, I realized something that I'd never noticed before. Every time somebody stood too tall, somebody else felt responsible for bringing them back to everybody else's level. Not with hate or cruelty, just enough to doubt to remind them not to get too comfortable. I slowly looked around the yard. It wasn't Erica or Aunt Denise or Uncle Ray or Monique. It was the family. Different people, different personalities, different reasons, same habit. Then across the yard, I caught Aunt Bernice watching me. She didn't say a word. She simply smiled to herself. It was the smile of somebody who knew I had finally started seeing what had been sitting in front of me my whole life. It wasn't just us. Thursday evening, Jade called. Just as always, I was finishing work. You busy? I'm headed home. No, you're not. I laugh. Excuse me? I already ordered your coffee. I look down at my phone. You serious? I'm sitting in Harlem right now. If you don't get here in the next 20 minutes, I'm drinking yours too. You've always been disrespectful. I've always been honest. Give me 30. I'll allow it. By the time I parked, the cafe was doing what New York cafes do best. Every table was occupied. Somebody was typing on a laptop. Another person was pretending to work while scrolling social media, and conversations floated through the room like background music. The smell of espresso mixed with fresh pastries and soft jazz played just enough to hit and feel the room in all of those different moments. Jade was already sitting by the window. She slid my coffee across the table before I even sat down. I saved your life. You saved yourself from drinking two coffees. Same difference. I took a sip. You got me hooked on this place. I know. For a few minutes, we talked about everything except the cookout. Work, traffic, rising rent, somebody's terrible dating story. It felt good to laugh again without analyzing every sentence that came out of somebody's mouth. Then Jade leaned back in her chair. So, I smiled. Here we go. You still hearing it? I didn't even ask what she meant. Everywhere. I figured. It's like buying a red car. She frowned. What? You don't notice red cars until you buy one, she noticed. Then they're everywhere. Exactly. Before Jade could answer, the front door opened. A woman walked in wearing a cream colored pantsuit and heels. Nothing flashy, just elegant. Her posture caught attention before her clothes did. Her smile at the cashier and the ordered her drink and stood off to the side waiting. A few women at the table behind us looked up. One of them smiled. Oh, she cute. Another one nodded. I like her outfit. The third woman looked over her shoulder. She always dressed nice. I didn't think anything of it, and then the first woman spoke again. I wonder where she worked. I heard she owned something. That little sound, I recognized it immediately. Another woman leaned forward. I don't know. She always looks expensive. The first one laughed. Probably got somebody paying for it. More laughter. The women. The woman's waiting for her coffee. Couldn't hear any of it. She was smiling at something on her phone. The conversation began again behind us. It kept going. I could never spend that much on clothes. I got kids. My priorities different. I ain't trying to impress nobody. Each sentence sounded harmless, reasonable, even until you put them together. Nobody knew that woman. Nobody knew how hard she worked. Nobody knew whether she bought those clothes on sale, owned one suit, or had been saving for months. They didn't know anything about her. Yet somehow her confidence had become the topic of discussion. The barista called her name. She picked up her drink, smiled at the room, and walked toward the door. As she passed the table behind us, every one of those women smiled. Have a good evening. You too. Love your outfit. Thank you, she said warmly before walking out. The cafe door closed. 3 seconds later, I still believe that bag is fake. The table burst into laughter. Jade looked at me. She didn't smile. She didn't say, I told you so. She simply raised an eyebrow. I slowly sat back in my chair. It's everywhere. I know. It ain't just my family. Nope. It ain't just cookouts. Nope. Jade stirred her coffee. I've been trying to tell you. I looked around the cafe, business meetings, first dates, students studying, friends catching up, complete strangers, different people, same behavior. The names changed, the locations changed, the clothes changed. The side eye didn't. And for the first time, I understood why Aunt Bernice, never rushed to call people jealous. Sometimes it wasn't jealousy, it was comparison, it was insecurity, it was disappointment talking. Sometimes people looked at somebody else's life and, without realizing it, measured it against their own. And when they came up short, they filled the gap with commentary. I finished my coffee without saying another word. As we walked out of the Harlem, onto the Harlem sidewalk, people rushed by us. Trying to catch the trains or meet friends or get home before dark. New York kept moving like it always did. Jay bumped my shoulder. You know what's scary? What? If we hadn't been sitting close enough to hear that conversation, I nodded. We would have thought those women were nice. She smiled. They probably think that they are. We stood at the counter waiting for the light to change. The city buzzed around us, yellow taxis, street vendors, people talking into Bluetooth speakers. Somewhere down the block, a saxophone player filled the evening air with music. I looked across the street and smiled to myself. This story had gotten a whole lot bigger than my family. And somehow, just somehow, that made it a whole lot more personal. We'll be right back after this.
It's your girl, Rochelle, Rhoda, my peoples. Yo, that's crazy. The shade of it all. What's about to happen next? The tea is hot. Blended will be right back.
Maker in a creations. Baby, I want to say, this one is for every woman who had to become her own medicine, who turned her pain into power, her scars into strength, her battles into a crown, because healing ain't soft. Healing is warfare. Ladies, we don't break, we rebuild. We don't hide our scars, we wear them like diamonds. Tonight, we introduced the woman who survived the storm and came back as the hurricane. The woman who stopped asking for permission and started moving like royalty. Her name is Queen Cammy. The crown is on, the board is set, the queen has arrived. My name is Queen Cammy, remember the name. I walked through the fire and came back with flames. They saw the scars and thought I was defeated. Didn't know my pain was the reason I was heated. I had to become my own rescue. Had to find the strength when nobody came through. Had to look in the mirror and fight my reflection. Turn every broken piece into my protection. I cried those tears nobody ever saw. Fought those battles behind closed doors, but every wound became another lesson. Every loss became another blessing. I'm not the woman you thought you knew. I'm the storm that the pressure grew. You counted me up, thought I would fall. I was learning how to rise above it all. I'm chasing crowds, I create kingdoms. I don't follow paths, I make my own freedom. You thought I was a pod sitting on your board. The queens move differently when they've been through war. Say my name, let the whole world hear it, Queen Tabby. I survived what was meant to destroy me. I became what I needed. I found the power inside me. No more hiding, no more fear. Queen is here. Queen Tabby made the final. Now watch what hearing can do. You tried to break me and tried to erase my fame, but pleasure made diamonds and struggle built my name. I'm not the woman you used to know. I'm the power you couldn't control. I became my medicine, I became my faith. The queen is standing tall. Welcome to my shake. I'm down to the Dundell underneath my skin. A warrior's heart with a queen's confidence. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness, baby. I've been through hell and came back amazing. I learned how to love myself first before I gave anybody my universe. I stopped begging for someone to see me when I realized the queen was always within me. I like intelligence, passion, and ambition. Someone who understands my vision. Don't come with this, don't come pretending. Queen Cammy already knows the ending because I can love like heaven, but I fight like fire. I can build an empire and take it even higher. My scars are my story, my crown is my proof. Everything that tried to bury me created my roots. I'm not just surviving, I'm rising. I'm not just healing, I'm rising. I'm rising. Behold me go. Take back, take back, take back, take back, take back, take back. Macaroni Creations. Macaroni Creations. Macaroni Creations. Macaroni Creations. Macaroni Creations. Macaroni. Macaroni. Macaroni Creations.
Like, share, and subscribe to Mecca Renee Creations. Her link is in the chat. Gratitude, Queen. Thank you. When I first started paying attention, I thought side-eye lived in my family. I thought it was something passed around at cookouts, wrapped inside of jokes, hidden beneath laughter. But this week taught me something different. Side-eye doesn't need a family reunion to show up. It shows up at work, restaurants, churches, or social media, even networking events. Everything that could happen, it can happen between complete strangers. All it takes is somebody walking into a room with something another person wishes that they had. The truth is most people are not trying to be cruel. They're responding to something they haven't healed inside of themselves. Comparison has a way of convincing us that somebody else's success takes something away from our own, and it doesn't. Their light does not dim yours. Their blessing does not cancel yours. But when we forget what we're measuring, commenting, comparing, and judging people, we never even take the time to know. What stayed with me the most wasn't what people were saying. It was how normal it felt. Nobody at the cafe thought that they were being hateful. They both probably drove home believing they had a wonderful evening. And that's the scary part, because the side eye, it becomes so woven into everyday conversations that we stop recognizing it for what it is. This journey isn't about pointing fingers anymore. It's about becoming aware, because once you recognize the pattern, you have a choice. You can keep passing it along, or you can be the person who celebrates people without needing to be underneath them. Sometimes the biggest change doesn't happen when you finally see people or see other people clearly. It happens when you decide to become different. Ashe? All right. That ends chapter 3. I want to thank you for tuning in. I really do. I truly, truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. And with that being said, I'm not going to hold you much longer. I'm going to get up out of here, because Lord knows, I know I kept y'all over an hour. But guess what? It was worth it. It was worth it. So be well, stay safe. Ashe and deep bow to each and every one of you. And I shall see you all very, very soon.
There are conversations we don't say out loud. We carry them quietly.
The funny thing about little jokes is they usually aren't little to the person hearing them. They're repeated so often that they stop sounding like jokes and start sounding like truth. Most of us can remember the mean things people said to us growing up. We remember the names we were called, the comparisons, the backhanded compliments, the family member who always had something slick to say. We laugh about it years later because that's what we're expected to do. You free to talk later?
Yeah. Everything okay?
Yeah, all good. Talk soon.
If she said she was thinking about you, she actually was. That was one of the things everybody loved about her.
You remember the cookout? Which part? Uncle Leon accusing me of stealing ribs, or Aunt Cheryl threatened to hide the peach cobbler from me? The conversations around Keisha. What about them? Did anything seem different to you? I don't think so. What about some of the comments Erica made? Nah. Really? I mean, Erica jokes. She always has. That's true. So what's different? I don't know.
Hi, a medium latte, please. Of course. That'll be $5. Thank you. Ooh, she cute. I like her outfit. She always dressed. I wonder where she work. I heard she owns something. I don't know. She always look expensive. Probably got somebody paying for it.
Sometimes the biggest change doesn't happen when you finally see other people clearly. It happens when you decide to become different.
Hope you received what you needed today. Thank you for coming by and spending some time with me. Come back soon. Ashe and deep bow to you.